what I want to know is I want to know what the distance is to the Statue of Liberty, right? So let me zoom you guys in a little bit so you guys can see the Statue of Liberty. Take you up to 10 power. Let's see if we can find it. I have a glare in my face right now, so it's kind of hard to see it. Oh, there it is, right there. Okay. So there's the Statue of Liberty. Let me bring you guys back to 1 power. All right, so I want to know what the distance is to the Statue of Liberty. And the good thing is, it's like Statue of Liberty is something that if you're in the New York area, you can see that from a distance. And its measurements are widely known, easy to look up, right? In fact, a lot of some of these famous buildings, you can easily look up their heights. But the Statue of Liberty is something that like you can kind of commit to memory. So the copper statue itself is 150 feet tall. Now the statue from its base all the way to the top is about 305 feet tall. Actually, let me zoom you guys back in so you can get another look at it. Okay, so from the base to the top, it's 305 feet tall, and we're gonna just round that off to 300, because we're just trying to get an approximation from our position, wherever it would happen to be in this area, how far that Statue of Liberty is. Okay, so we're gonna, you know, I've covered this in other videos. When I fully extend my arm, the thickness of my pinky, okay, is 65 minutes of angle, okay, 65 MOA. So I'm going to use that as a measuring device. I've done it before, and we can get a pretty precise measurement, particularly if we're measuring things that are large, right? The bigger the things that we're measuring, the more accurate our measurement's going to be. And Statue of Liberty is like almost like a perfect size. And we're gonna use the entire height of it from the base to 300, right? So the calculation, and I'm not gonna like do the calculation for you guys, because you know you can kind of crunch it yourselves, because I'm just trying to just get to get the idea, of course, how to do it. So the entire height of the monument is 305. You multiply that by 12 inches, right? So it's 305 by 12 inches, and then you multiply it by the conversion factor 95.5, okay? 95.5. And then what I would do is because as I held this out, and it's not gonna, you're not gonna be able to see it because there's a difference with the height of the camera versus my, you know, the length of my arm. It's not gonna be perfect. But when I hold this at full extension and I try to line it up, the entire height of the Statue of Liberty from its base is basically the entire height of my pinky finger, right? Like when I hold it out like this. So it is 65 minutes of angle, all right? 65 MOA. So again, it's 305 times 12 inches times conversion factor 95.5 divided by the 65, okay? And that gives me a number, right? You can crunch it on your calculator yourself. 65, it gives me a number. Right, and then what I do is it's going to give me the distance in yards, okay, which I don't remember what it is, but then I want to convert it into miles, right, because presumably I'd be traveling this distance, let's say by boat or something, right, or rowing, right, so how far do I have to row to get to that location there? So when you divide that by 1760 divided by that, I find out that the Statue of Liberty from my position here is 3 miles. Okay, it's 3 miles away. Okay, so again, the formula, right, is your total height. Okay, so again, using the entire statue, the entire monument, 305 times 12 inches times conversion 95.5 divided by the 65, right, of my pinky, because it took up the entire pinky. All right, that gives me a number in yards. Okay, that's my distance in yards, and then to get it into miles, I divide it by 1760. Now, let's say it only took up half the height of my pinky finger. Well, I would just divide that by half, or if it took up a quarter, I would divide it by a quarter. So rather than, you know, I mean, that's the easiest way to do it, right? Or if it takes, let's say, if it's 1.5 times your pinky finger, or twice your pinky finger. So let's say when you hold your pinky finger out there, it is twice that, right? You know, you would just double it, right? So that's a really easy, fast way to do range estimation, right, on things that you're able to look up, like these ferries here. Like I can kind of you know, I could easily look up and see what the length of these ferries is, right? So that's another thing. I can hold my pinky finger out and I can measure it, right? And I can get a sense. You know, if I know my pinky finger is 65, I can say, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's about 6 times my pinky finger. So whatever number I got, you know, I would basically do the, you know, I would just factor in that it's going to be 6. Actually end up dividing it because it would be 6 times closer. Okay. So yeah, so that's a interesting thing to play around with, right? You know, find buildings or statues or boats, you know, like most ferry ships are like about 1,100 feet long, you know, and like, oh, there you go, there's a ferry ship right over there, right? Let me zoom you guys in. Where are you? There it is. So that ferry ship over there is about 1,100 feet long. Okay, I've seen it a couple times this week. I actually looked it up. I that's pretty average. Most of these, I'm sorry, not ferry ship. That's a cruise ship. A cruise ship. That cruise ship over there. I didn't mean to say ferry ship. I meant the ferry ships are much smaller. Like this one over here, much smaller. But the ferry ships are about 1,100 feet long. So you do the same formula to range estimate. Okay. Now the only thing I'm going to say is that because I was using minutes of angle because that's what I know my pinky is in, and the reason why I know that is because I've kind of matched it up to a 65 MOA circle, looking at the same thing at distance, and that's how I figured out that my pinky is 65 minutes of angle. It's the same thickness as a 65 MOA circle. But if I was doing this in mils, right? If I had measured, let's say even my pinky, let's say I had that measurement in mils, right? Which you know, I could figure that out as well. Then instead of a conversion factor of 95.5, then I would multiply it by 27.77. Okay, so that would have been the difference if I knew the measurement in mils instead of minutes of angle of my pinky, because that's the thing I'm using to measure this out with. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Drop some comments below. Let me know how you liked it. If it was useful for you guys, interesting, and I will talk to you all soon.